People in prison are much less likely to reoffend if they get an education while they're behind bars. That's why the State University of New York offers degree programs at 24 state prisons across New York. That includes here in the North Country at prisons in Malone, Ray Brook, Ogdensburg, Cape Vincent, and Gouverneur. But when people are freed from prison, they face daunting challenges, finding a home, a job, often discrimination along the way that can derail their life again. A new SUNY program is working to ease that transition and put people on the right track. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Long Run Wealth, an SEC-registered investment advisor in Lake Placid, providing comprehensive wealth management, retirement, and financial planning solutions. LongRunWealth.com. And the Devlin Inn and Suites, Lake Placid, welcoming families, athletes, and groups to the Olympic Village, offering Adirondack mountain views and dog-friendly accommodations. TheDevlinNY.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Wednesday, New Year's Eve, 2025. First up, respiratory illnesses are spreading fast in New York. That's according to the latest data from the State Department of Health. Lab-confirmed cases of the flu were up 38% from the week prior. State Health Commissioner Dr. James McDonald says it's the highest number of flu cases ever recorded in a single week.
We reported 71,000 cases, the week ending December 20th. But last year when we peaked, we only had 50,000 cases. So we're already seeing more cases than the peak of last year.
McDonald says hospitalizations are up 63%. He says that while that may be alarming, treatments and vaccines are available.
Keep in mind, the flu vaccine is good at preventing you from ending up in the hospital and good at preventing you from passing away. That's the promise of the flu vaccine. It's really effective in that regard. Doesn't help everybody, but it's a lot better than nothing.
Another respiratory virus is also on the rise, RSV, though McDonald says they're not seeing as many cases of RSV as last year. Warren County says it's the victim of a fraudulent phishing scheme that lost the county more than $3 million. In a press release, officials said the county treasurer's office transferred electronic payments of $2.1 million and $1.2 million earlier this month to a fraudulent bank account. The county contacted local, state, and federal law enforcement when it learned of the problem to launch an investigation and try to recover the funds. Investigators told the county the $1.2 million payment will be recovered, and they'll work to recover the rest. The investigation is ongoing. The state comptroller's Office of Local Government is also conducting an investigation into the issue. When incarcerated people return into the wider world, they often struggle to get a job and a place to live, often because their criminal record scares off potential employers. A new SUNY program is trying to bridge that transition by offering paid internships across the state. A pilot of the Teaching Forward Fellowship program wrapped up recently in New York City, and the next round in the $250,000 program will expand to upstate cities this spring semester. SUNY Chancellor John King says this transition is the biggest obstacle formerly incarcerated people face.
So they've got their degree, now they come home. How do we help them be as successful as possible when they get home? And so the idea here was to identify host sites for internship opportunities for the formerly incarcerated students who now have their degrees. They're working with organizations like Good Shepherd, which is a multi-service provider in New York City, an organization called College and Community Fellowship. And the idea is they get this work experience, 300 hours of paid work experience, and through that, they are more likely to be able to get that first job. And actually, in the first cohort of students, we had 9 students. 7 of them got jobs connected to what they were doing through this program.
There are always, when it comes to education programs and transition programs like this, there are always people who will be critical and will say, why are we giving such a leg up to people who committed crimes, who did bad things in society? How do you answer them?
Look, at the end of the day, 95% of the people who are incarcerated in the United States are coming home. The only question is how. When they come home, will they have skills, educational experiences that will help them to be more successful? And will they have support through that transition home that allows them to become positive contributors to their families and communities? And our view is SUNY, as the state's public higher education system, we have a responsibility to help and to help our students make that transition home successfully.
I've heard from some formerly incarcerated people and some advocates for them that one of the big stumbling blocks that they have when they are freed from prison and go out into society looking for a job, that they may have trouble and delays with background checks and other things that go through other state agencies. And I'm wondering, how often do you talk with other state agencies to try to make this process, this transition, smoother for formerly incarcerated people?
You know, this is something we're trying to tackle through expanding our reentry support for our alumni. And so we are in the process of hiring regional reentry support professionals who can work with our alumni from the higher education and prison programs to help them navigate those processes like background checks, like that finding housing, like finding that first job.
This program in the fall, it had 9 fellows. You say you're expanding a little bit, and you're also expanding to other areas beyond New York City, to Buffalo, to Rochester, to Albany. That's still a really small number of people compared to the number of people who are released from prison every year. What will be required to have this go to scale and make a bigger impact?
You know, our hope over time is to partner with the corrections department to do more on the reentry side. And at the end of the day, we want the folks who leave incarceration to be successful when they get home, and we don't want them to return to prison. And the evidence is educational programming can dramatically reduce recidivism. But the other thing that we can do is help with reentry and smooth that path to success as folks return home. And so this is important to scale. We're trying to build a powerful demonstration project.
You wanted to do this interview with me. Why is this program so important to you personally?
You know, I was a kid who struggled in high school. I lost both my parents when I was little, my mom when I was 8, my dad when I was 12. Like many kids who experienced trauma, I got in a lot of trouble. I actually got kicked out of high school. And I was very fortunate that there were people who gave me a second chance, teachers, a school counselor, family members. And I think part of what we can do in our society is give people second chances, give them that opportunity to make their lives better. And our higher education and prison program is a perfect example of a smart way to deliver second chances.
That's SUNY Chancellor John King talking about SUNY's new fellowship that connects formerly incarcerated people with internships. A new round is kicking off this spring semester. We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Story of the Day will be off for New Year's Day tomorrow, back on Friday. Music today by Eddie Lawrence of Saranac Lake and Evan Veenstra of Gananoque, Ontario. Have a safe and happy New Year's Eve. See you in 2026. I'm David Summerstein, North Country Public Radio.